Welcome to the day after talking Duck football. I'm the War Duck, and so we're gonna start with the Pac-12 here. So right now the standings, you got Washington sitting at 6-0. You have Oregon at 5-1. If those two teams win out, they will be in the Pac-12 title game in Las Vegas. You have Trojans that now drop to 5-2 after losing to Washington. Arizona Wildcats move up 4-2 after getting their big win over UCLA at home. Oregon State beats Colorado, moves up to 4-2. Utah, they get that win. They move up to 4-2. They just dismantled Arizona State. Stanford got a win. They move up 2-5. Everybody else down here lost. And so let's take a look at Washington's schedule here. You have Washington playing Utah at home. That'll be a very big game right here. Washington, either they play like they did against USC, or I think Utah beats them at home. This is going to be a very tough game. And then right after that, they have to go down to Oregon State. Oregon State is a history of beating top 10 teams. They are known as the Giant Killers, and it is possible for Washington to lose one of these if they don't take care of business. If Penix plays like he did against USC, I think they're probably fine. If Penix plays like he did in any of the other two games before that, I think they're in trouble. So, I don't know. Utah is very physical up front. So it'll be interesting to see how Washington can get that ball out quick and make plays. I don't know. I think this game is probably a 7-point game. I don't see Washington running away from Utah. And I don't see Utah, just completely dismantling Washington. Washington just has the ability to score on unremarkable plays where you don't think they really have a chance. So 3 games left. This is Washington State's on a big slide. I don't really see that being too much. Look at Oregon's schedule. They have USC coming into Autzen next week. That'll be a much hyped game, but I see Oregon winning that game by 2 touchdowns. Washington, who's not known for their running game, ran all over USC for a tune of like 250, 300 yards of rushing or something like that. If USC is going to come into Autzen and think that they can stop Oregon's rushing game playing like they did against Washington, there is no way. Oregon is going to run all over them. It's going to be just a dismantling. Then Oregon goes down to Arizona State to play our ex-offensive coordinator, Dillingham. And then, of course, you have that last game in the season, Oregon State, and Oregon cannot look past Oregon State because Oregon State, this is the last Civil War to be played. They're not on the schedule anymore. This is the longest running, game against 2 teams in the nation. And this will be the last time on the schedule, which is kind of sad in there, but I don't know. If I was Oregon State, I wouldn't play the Ducks anymore either, but I don't know. It's just it is what it is. So Oregon's got to get past USC, go down to Arizona State, and then they have to play a superb game to beat Oregon State at home. Luckily, this game is at home, because if this game was at Oregon State, man, it'd be even worse. So manageable schedules for both Washington and Oregon, and both of them may just meet back up in the Pac-12 title game, where it'll be on a neutral field. Washington won by 3 points at their home, so I would see Oregon being favored in that game. And let's just take a look at the rankings here. You have Ohio State sitting at the top, undefeated, Georgia undefeated, Michigan undefeated, Florida State undefeated, Washington undefeated. All those teams won. You have Oregon at the first one-loss team. They won. Texas won. Alabama won. Oklahoma lost. They are no longer a one-loss team. Ole Miss won. Penn State won. Missouri lost to Georgia. No longer a one-loss team. And Louisville won. So there are 5 undefeated and 6 one-loss teams. This will continue to play out as the season goes on. And at some point, this is the way I see this scenario working out. No matter what, Ohio State and Michigan play each other. One of those teams is going to lose. One of those teams is going to have one loss. If Washington wins out and they're undefeated, I think Washington is in over one loss, Ohio State or Michigan. If Oregon wins out, beats Washington, I think Oregon is in over one loss Michigan, over one loss Ohio State. So I think with the Pac-12 being the dominant conference this season so far, I think a one-loss championship or a undefeated championship Pac-12 winner is in the college football playoffs. Georgia plays number 10 Ole Miss and number 17 Tennessee as part of their last 3-game stretch. I don't really see them losing, so we're going to say that Georgia is undefeated. Florida State doesn't play anybody. They haven't played anybody all season. I see them going undefeated. And like I said, if Washington goes undefeated, they're in. If Oregon finishes the season out, beats Washington as the Pac-12 title contender, I think they're in. And then, you have one loss Ohio State, one loss Michigan. I think they're on the outside looking in. Even over Oregon with one loss, I think Oregon's win over Washington will be the better win. And I think Oregon being the Pac-12 conference champion over a one-loss Michigan or Ohio State that is not a conference champion. That's just kind of how I see it playing out. So you got Big Ten, SEC, and ACC, and Pac-12 in there. But, all right, let's take a look at this Oregon-Cal game. So this Oregon-Cal game finished 63-19. However, this game was a hell of a lot closer than the way this really looked. And, I don't know, so the very first series, and I believe it was the very first play, that Bo Nix throws it to Tez Johnson for first down yardage. Tez Johnson hits his hands and bounces up, and Cal gets the interception on the very first offensive play, I think is what it was. It was at least the first series. It might have been the second play, but I'm pretty sure it was the very first play. And then, so Cal gets the ball back. Cal throws an interception. Oregon gets the ball back. Oregon's driving down. Oregon gets a penalty. Oregon gets another penalty. And then it might even be a third penalty on the drive because it ends up being 1st and 35. No, it's 2nd down and 35 on the 48-yard line of Cal. And then Bo Nix throws a pass to Tez Johnson, and Tez Johnson just rockets to the end zone for Oregon's first score, making it 7-0. Cal gets the ball, they drive down, and they get stalled, they kick a field goal. Oregon comes down, and they go down, and they score, goes up 14-0. No, that's not how it went. Oregon comes down, they score again, goes 14-0. Cal comes down, kicks a field goal. Then, this is in the first quarter. Then, Oregon has the ball on their 20 right after the field goal. And then Tez Johnson goes in motion from the bottom to the top of the formation. As he's running by, the ball gets hiked for some reason. It hits Tez Johnson's legs. Bucky runs over, grabs the ball with a Cal defender on his back, and gets pulled down and loses the ball. Cal picks up the ball, scampers 10 yards for the touchdown, making this first quarter score 10-14. It was just a very weird first quarter. Oregon gets the ball second quarter, and they run right down and score, and they continue to score, and then continue to score some more, and so it was just very weird first and beginning of the second quarter. It was just very strange. Cal gets a field goal in the second quarter, but Oregon scores 21 in the second to just pretty much blow this game out. And the halftime score ends up being 35-13, even though the first quarter score was 10-14 and a whole bunch of mishaps. Now, the thing about this is Oregon had only 2 turnovers the first 8 games. They got 2 turnovers in this game. Actually 3 turnovers in this game, but one I don't really count, but I don't know, whatever. So if you look at this here, Oregon doubled Cal's first downs. Third down efficiency, 10 of 14. That was superb. Fourth down efficiency, 1 of 1. Rushing yards, 153. Oregon's rushing game was there, but they just didn't utilize it all that much. And part of the reason, because there was 444 passing yards, 597 yards for the game. Oregon gets 1 sack. And the other problem here was the 9 penalties for 99 yards. That's a whole drive. I don't know. There was some penalties that were a little bit suspect, a little bit out of ordinary, but that's just going to have to get fixed. It's things that Oregon could have prevented for the most part. There was the one... So Oregon blocks a punt. Or the field goal? It was... I can't remember the field goal. I think it was a field goal. Oregon blocks a field goal attempt, but they were offsides. They get the ball and they run all the way down and score. But I think... I'm not really exactly sure what the penalty on. I think the penalty on was the scoop and score. They called the penalty on Oregon unsportsmanlike conduct because of, I guess, the play had been blown dead. So, whatever. The offsides part, avoidable. The other part, sometimes you're just going to run that out anyway. Anyway, so, I mean, whatever. All right, let's just take a look here. Bo Nix, 29 of 38 with the 1 interception that was tipped. He had 4 touchdowns through the air, 10.2 yard average. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. So Bo Nix accounted for 6 touchdowns in this game. Bucky Irving, 18 carries for 89 yards. Jordan James, 7 carries, 44 yards. 4.9 average, 6.3 average. Both of them had rushing touchdowns. Both of them had 16 yards. Ty Thompson got in there, went 6 of 8, got himself a touchdown. He looked actually pretty good, but look at this. Tez Johnson, 12 receptions, 180 yards, 15 average, 2 touchdowns, and like I said, Oregon's drive, they had some penalties, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 35 on the Oregon 48. And Bo Nix throws a laser to Tez Johnson, who does Tez things and just runs the rest of the way to the end zone and gets that score. Oregon was incredibly efficient once they got out of that first quarter. They scored 14, 21, 7 in the third, and then 21 in the fourth. One of those being, actually 2 of those being garbage time because, again, Bo Nix didn't play in the fourth quarter pretty much. So we're going to take a look at some highlights here. So this is the first quarter, and this is just, to me, this is my favorite play of this game because this is Bo Nix being Bo Nix. And to me, this shows everything about why Bo Nix, to me, is the front runner in the Heisman. Sure, he may not have all the stats, but Bo Nix doesn't play in the fourth quarter for one. And Bo Nix doesn't hurt his team. And what Bo Nix does is even when a play breaks down, Bo Nix makes it happen. And just watch this play. All right, we're going to watch that again because, like I said, this is my favorite play of the game. Bo Nix gets flushed out of the pocket. He runs right under the defender's arm, and instead of trying to run for the first down, which Bo Nix probably would have got if he went to the outside toward the sideline, he makes the pass and gets even more yards. He ducks under, and right here, he's got one man to beat, and you got these guys. If he goes out that way, I think he still gets that first down. But instead, he says, hey, look what I got open up top. Bam, right at the sideline for the first down. To me, that is a Heisman-type play. Sure, it didn't go for the touchdown, but it was 3rd and 3. This moves this drive along. This goes to an Oregon touchdown eventually, and Oregon starts running away from the game. All right, so here we go. I think this is Bo Nix to Troy Franklin. This is Bo Nix to Troy Franklin. Perfect pass, perfect catch. This couldn't have been delayed any longer. Troy Franklin would have been out of bounds or covered. Bo Nix hops up, makes the throw. And look at that throw. Perfect placement. And his feet aren't set. That's all arm strength. He actually hops in the air when he throws this ball. Perfect spiral, perfect catch, gets the foot down, touchdown. Troy Franklin's simply amazing, and Bo Nix is your Heisman. What I mean, he's got to be your Heisman. Okay. Second quarter, I didn't get that first. There's no highlight of that first Tez Johnson touchdown, and I didn't want to use one that was going to get me flagged. So this is just Tez Johnson doing Tez Johnson's thing. Beautiful pass by Bo Nix. Puts it right where you have to be. And Tez Johnson goes over the back shoulder to catch this ball. Boom. Touchdown. Corner in the end zone. Beautiful catch by Tez. And perfect throw by Bo. Bam. Touchdown. Look at that. All right. And then we're just going to show the very last highlight here. And this is, no, that's not the one. We already showed that one. We're going to show Bucky doing Bucky stuff because it's just not quite an Oregon game without Bucky doing Bucky stuff. So here we go. Bam. Bucky gets the handoff, dives in the middle, goes out, and perfect block by 81, catches the edge, and Bucky is untouched in the end zone. Bucky doing Bucky things. We'll watch that one more time because it's just a joy to watch Bucky run for touchdowns. All right. So Oregon handles business against Cal. This game was just weird in the first quarter, but Oregon settles down and does what Oregon has to do to get this win. Oregon's got the big game against USC next weekend. And like I said, I see Oregon winning that game by 2 touchdowns. I don't see USC having the ability to stop Oregon's run game. And I don't see Oregon having, because USC, let's face it, they're one-dimensional. Oregon's been really good all season. I think Oregon's defense slows them down. I think they get pressure on Caleb. And Caleb has been showing that he will make mistakes. He had the fumble against Washington that cost him that game. He's thrown some interceptions. I think Oregon gets at least 1, if not 2 turnovers against USC. And I see Oregon winning by 2 touchdowns in this game. But Oregon's going to have to play because USC's offense is dangerous. And you just don't want to turn it into a shootout because then you just never know what happens. So Oregon defense is going to have to clamp down. I see that game somewhere probably, I don't know, let's say 38-21, somewhere in there. I don't know. We'll see. But Oregon, just keep winning. Meet Washington in the Pac-12 title game. Beat Washington in the Pac-12 title game, and you go to the playoffs. That's where I see this Oregon team headed. I see this as a destiny team right now to get to the playoffs and make some noise. No team right now wants to see Oregon in the playoffs. They look like the most complete team out of all of college football right now, and they are just very dangerous at all facets. Can they win it? Sure, they can win it. Do they win it? I don't know. They got to play complete games the rest of the season. You can't have these 9 penalty games. You can't have these mess ups in the early part of some of these games. Oregon has to start playing more perfect football in November to make sure that they get the wins that they have to have. With that, we're out of here for now. We will catch you next week. Much love all. We'll catch you next time.